Elite Facts presents
10 Pop Culture Conspiracy Theories. 10. JayZ and Beyonce are in the Illuminati. Instead of choosing a normal name for their child, JayZ and Beyonce decided to take the Hollywood route of naming their child and decided to call her Blue Ivy. Yeah, it's not as bad as Jason Lee naming his child Pilot Inspector, but at least his kid's name isn't linked to Satan in any way, shape, or form. Blue Ivy, spelled backwards, is Yulb Evie, which is the name of Lucifer's daughter. The name is also said to be an anagram. IVY equals Illuminati's very youngest, and BLUE equals born living under evil. And this is where the Illuminati link comes in. Yeah, this is pretty far-fetched, but it's not as crazy as people saying that Whitney Houston was actually a blood sacrifice for Blue Ivy.
9.
Elvis and Tupac are in Cuba. So we're aware that at this point Elvis, Tupac, and Cuba have been a recurring theme in some of our videos where it's relevant. Elvis was the king, and it's safe to say that it was a hard pill to swallow back in 1977 when his death was announced to the world. The theories about Elvis are everywhere, ranging from him not being in the casket during his funeral to him being committed to a retirement home in which he fights a pimped-out mummy with John F. Kennedy. Yes, there's a film with that exact plot called Bubba Hotep, and it is as crazy as it sounds. However, the Cuba theories didn't really start to show up until the death of influential rap artist Tupac Shakur in 1996, when everyone started to believe that Tupac faked his own death so that he could live the rest of his life in peace in Cuba. Ever since then, for some reason, people started to believe Elvis was down in Cuba too, chilling with Tupac in this whole theory. 8. The Illuminati controls the entertainment industry. It wouldn't be a conspiracy list without more than one mention of the Illuminati, now would it? Recently, a lot of people have been linking random musicians to the Illuminati, with one of the most popular examples being Lady Gaga, due to all the Illuminati symbolism in her music videos. It just kind of goes on and on. The all-seeing eye symbolism, the Baphomet poses, countless aspects of her stage shows, videos, and promotional photos are said to reflect her status as a member of the infamous organization. Of course, this goes further than just Lady Gaga, as many other musicians such as Katy Perry and the previously mentioned JayZ and Beyonce have also been linked to the Illuminati. Illuminati and occult symbolism is said to be found all over popular culture, appearing in movies and books as well.
7.
Stanley Kubrick directed the moon landing. Room 237 was a documentary released in 2012 that showcased 3 crazy interpretations of Stanley Kubrick's horror classic, The Shining. One of these theories is that the film is about the slaughter of Native Americans. Another theory relates it to the Holocaust. And the final theory revealed is that the film is Stanley Kubrick's confession regarding his involvement in helping with the production of the Apollo 11 moon landings, which were allegedly faked. The theory mainly focuses on the famous footage of Neil Armstrong making his one giant leap for mankind. It's alleged that it was actually filmed on Earth and was fabricated as a piece of propaganda. Now, why Kubrick, you might ask? Well, Kubrick at the time had just finished what was said to be the most accurate portrayal of space travel with his cinematic masterpiece, 2001: A Space Odyssey.
6.
Nicolas Cage is really a vampire. This one is quite possibly the funniest conspiracy theory on this list. In September 2011, an eBay seller posted a photo of a Tennessee man taken in 1870 who bears a striking resemblance to Nicolas Cage. Now, admittedly, this is a stupid conspiracy, but it is an entertaining one, as people actually think that the person in the photo is actually Cage himself and that he is an immortal vampire. Of course, Cage found out about it and decided to have a little bit of fun with the idea. Eventually, Cage did confirm that the picture isn't him and reminded believers that vampires are always invisible in pictures.
5.
The arcade title Polybius controls people's minds. Kids today don't know how lucky they've got it with video and arcade games. Back in the 1980s, at the height of video arcades' popularity, right before home consoles took over, there was an urban legend that there was one game that existed that was somehow even more of a juggernaut than Pac-Man and Space Invaders combined. This game was known as Polybius, and it literally brainwashed players. The game first showed up on an arcade gaming site in 1998 and went in-depth about how Polybius cabinets had started to spring up out of nowhere. Whenever anyone was driven completely mad by the game, mysterious men in black would allegedly turn up and take them away to be part of their research. The research was said to have been a part of an experiment to see how mind control works.
4.
Stephen King killed John Lennon. We all know Stephen King. He's one of the most influential writers of our time. He's written such classics as Carrie, Salem's Lot, and of course, The Shining. Well, in the 1980s, King was rocking a look that closely resembled that of a killer by the name of Mark David Chapman. Now you're probably asking, okay, what are you hinting at? Well, we're not saying it, but because of his look in the 80s, a lot of people started to point the finger at King for the death of John Lennon, who was thought to have been gunned down by Chapman in New York. People say that Chapman was actually an actor hired to misdirect us and the media from the real culprits who wanted to shut down the most politically correct Beatle. Now, apparently this is where Stephen King comes in, as people were quick to link the assassination back to his novel The Dead Zone, in which a political figure, kind of like John Lennon, is assassinated.
3.
Orson Welles' War of the Worlds: Psychological Warfare. Who could ever forget the night Orson Welles terrified an entire nation with his radio broadcast of H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds? The broadcast became famous for reporting an alien invasion in such a realistic way that it quickly caused an uproar as people began to panic and riot without realizing that the broadcast itself was a hoax. However, it's believed by some that the panic was no accident. The Princeton University Radio Research Project was funded by the Rockefeller Foundation, and theorists believe that the radio drama was broadcast in order to study the effects of media on society. Needless to say, if it was true, the results would have been very interesting, to say the least.
2.
Fox predicted 9/11. Oh, Fox, why must you always be surrounded with controversy and conspiracies? If it's not your right-wing propaganda that's aired on Fox News, it's your original programming that somehow predicts the future. Yes, this is the part where we talk about the infamous 9/11 predictions that aired on several of Fox's original programs years before 9/11 even happened. The Simpsons is the most famous culprit. In an episode that aired in 1997 called The City of New York versus Homer Simpson, there's a very eerie visual of a magazine cover that prominently features the Twin Towers right next to the number 9. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, that's probably the only good example there is of this conspiracy. What else you got? What other programs on Fox have hinted towards 9/11? Well, the pilot episode of a short-lived X-Files spin-off called The Lone Gunman aired in June of 2001, and its plot focused around an attempt to crash a plane into the Twin Towers. Yeah, we know, that is actually pretty scary.
1.
The Walt Disney Corporation is pure evil. So it's a fact that the Walt Disney Company is one of the United States' oldest and most successful entertainment conglomerates. Hell, you could even say it's one of the most successful conglomerates in the world. The company was founded in 1923 as a small animation studio, and it has slowly but surely turned into the giant we know today that has subsidiaries such as the ABC Network, ESPN, and Dimension Films. They even got to the point of buying out Marvel Comics and Lucasfilms, the home of Star Wars, for a combined $8 billion. Yes, Disney has essentially cornered the entire entertainment industry. It also can't be disputed that, though a traditionally family-oriented business, Disney has allowed sexual images to make their way not only into the completed cuts of their films, but also promotional and poster artwork. Many instances have been pointed out, from the very phallic VHS cover of The Little Mermaid to the infamous Lion King scene where the stars align to look like it's spelling out the word sex. There are tons of subliminal messages, and in every instance, changes are made to future releases and chalked up to jokes by animators or simple misunderstandings. Why would Disney want to expose children, so to speak, to inappropriate sexual content anyway? Well, conspiracy theorists have the answers. It's all part of their plan to expose children to sexual imagery as a way to get their viewers addicted to their product so that they can suck all of the money from the parents' wallets while rendering their children compliant, subservient consumers with early exposure to these sexualized images. Yeah, that theory is unlikely, but we still think Mickey Mouse might just be the devil.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more elite facts.